Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of TF Labs, one of our video evening events that we do. Today is a very fun day because we are only going to be talking about Bitcoin. This is a show that we do called Just SATS, as in just Satoshis, Satoshi Nakamoto, but then also Satoshi, the smaller diminutive of Bitcoin. So with that, we'll just get right to it. Make sure you are chatting it up in the comment section over there. And I'm going to welcome my co-host of this show, who is Mr. Matty SATS. And Matty SATS and I, we did this back in the day, actually. And when the start of the pandemic, you and I had this idea, hey, let's just talk only about Bitcoin and let's have some fun doing it.
I think we were on a phone call and it was just like, let's just go on social media and see what happens.
Yeah. So we started talking about Bitcoin only, a lot of fun, and made some fun videos in the process. And we've met really cool people on Twitter and other places, over the many years that we've been in crypto. So we have two awesome people who are going to be co-hosting or co-joining this with us today. So first, actually, before I do, Matt, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody really quickly?
Hi, Matty SATS Case. Been in broadcasting on air for over 20 years. Pseudo retired, been in the blockchain space since 2017 and have been growing more and more. Right now, I'm currently the executive producer, content creator over at Quantum Economics. Also do some social media and crypto commentary as well for Goxstein Media, G Media over there. And I'm a crypto idiot, retail repping the plebes since day one. So there you go.
Awesome. And I guess I didn't introduce myself, but you all pretty much know me. I'm Jonathan G. Blanco, founder and CEO of TF Labs. We do management consulting in crypto, as well as awesome conferences and events. We even have one coming up June 1st in Seattle. Matty Case will be there.
On the calendar.
Yeah, it's there. And we also have a cool startup in the NFT space, but we're not talking about NFTs. We're talking about Bitcoin today. So with that, first, I'm going to invite to the stage the crypto curator, Paul Mcneil. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Woo! Awesome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for co-hosting with us today. Been awesome getting to know you on Twitter, and would just love if you introduce yourself to everybody.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Mcneil, known as the Crypto Curator. And the reason I'm the Crypto Curator is that I've been putting together a newsletter every day since 2017. There's a lot of newsletters, but I try to look at all the news, which is absolutely impossible. But I try. So I've been around, Bitcoin, been aware of Bitcoin since 2011. I didn't do like everybody else. It took me a while to actually get off zero, but once I did, there was no coming back.
Man, it's same with me. I became aware of it in 2013 and thought it was silly, and boy, was I the silly one. So awesome. Thanks for joining us here, Paul. And with that, let's go right to Gerald, inviting Gerald on stage. Welcome, Gerald Vata, the crypto curator and the crypto oracle.
Yes.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I don't know if my mic is working. Excellent. I'm doing well. I work for Quantum Economics. I've been in the crypto space since 2016. I earned my first slivers of SATs playing a game for Satoshis, and I literally earned enough Satoshis to have them exit the wallet from their wallet to my own private wallet, which was blockchain.com wallet. On Christmas Eve, I received those Satoshis in 2016, 0.0014342 or something like that. And then in like 2018, it went to like $2, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, obviously Bitcoin was getting close to like $17,000 or $20,000. And I bought some Litecoin, and it went nuts. And that's when I fell down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and eventually read the white paper. And I pretty much study the hash rate of Bitcoin religiously. I literally look at the raw hash power chart. I tell people, if you look at it, it looks very erratic and crazy. And people, when you post pictures of those charts, people think you're crazy. But I've actually been studying them very religiously since 2018. And when people are saying, where's Bitcoin going? Where's Bitcoin going? And I see that the mining community is growing by leaps and bounds, especially in the United States over the last 2 years. I don't see this big downturn that Arthur Hayes is calling for. I think he's out of the loop now. I think he's, ever since he's been kicked off being actual CEO of BitMEX, he's not really in the mix anymore. And he knows what he's talking about, but he's just not in it to win it, right? Like when he's CEO, like he's got big positions open for the company to make money, and now he can't do that anymore. And obviously he probably has his own positions open with Bitcoin and etc. But I think he's out of the loop, and he's not looking at the fundamentals. The fundamentals tell a totally different story. Unique wallet addresses of Bitcoin are literally about to hit 1 billion unique wallet addresses in the next month or two. And to me, this is a tipping point indicator of we are at full on almost mass adoption. Obviously, we're not to the real tipping point, which is 10%, but we are definitely in past, what they call the intro mode, or the early adopter phase is over. That is definitely over.
Right. Nice.
That's crazy. So I didn't know that. So we're close to 1 billion unique wallets, as in 1 billion individuals having Bitcoin.
Obviously, that number is slightly skewed because if you're a hodler, every Bitcoin hodler that's smart has 5 or 6 different Bitcoin wallets, maybe even a dozen in some cases.
Maybe.
But still,
it's still significant.
Yeah, to be over 900 million. I don't know why my light keeps dimming. What's going on with that?
It's because you're in
my background.
That's right.
He's the Oracle. He's the Oracle.
He's gonna go ahead and come back
into the
go.
blue. There.
There you go.
Okay, that's a little bit better. But yeah, again, all these fundamentals are actually true for all the major chains, Ethereum, Litecoin, etc. Unique wallet addresses are off the charts, and I know people don't want to hear about other cryptos, but Litecoin transactions are almost in parity with Bitcoin transactions, which is insanity. So when people think this space is getting smaller or there's this big bear contraction coming, you're crazy. It's a global market, open 24/7, 365 days a year, where we literally have multiple emerging markets currency dying as we speak, from the real to the bolivar to the Turkish lira. The list is literally 20 to the dollar's actually not the worst of those, thank the Lord. Like I stated in many spaces with all of you gentlemen, when the oil prices were spiking, I said this would be good for the 10-year treasuries, and we have hit the highest yields on the 10-year treasuries since 2018. That I just read an article on today. So again,
what are we talking
dollar
about?
doing well is good.
Is that what it's up to?
It's about almost 3%, actually. I think it was 2.97.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I said it might hit 3%, and that would be like, wow, they're in crypto. We're like,
but I think if I remember correctly, you said though that was only going to be short term. It's only going to be a short term gain, and then in the long run, that really won't be beneficial for most folks.
Yeah,
if
again,
I'm not mistaken. Maybe that.
Well, it all depends on the data, right? And the new data that I just learned the other day, and my analysis was a little off when I said Putin didn't really have his economics game up to par. He did. The reason why the ruble pooped the bed, the day of the invasion, you know what the Russian central banks did? They jacked the rates at 20%. Yeah, wow. That'll make anybody's currency poop the bed. So that's why it's recouping so hard, because you have multiple entities going, holy moly, I can get 20% yield in rubles. So you probably have the Chinese, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's other, Belarus or other countries, investing heavily into rubles because that yield is 20. I mean, that's insane.
One thing. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead, dude.
You're talking about Russia, and I'm sure Curator Paul Mcneil, you've probably come across this on your radar, but I'm reading here, U.S. Treasury is sanctioning Russian Bitcoin miners.
Yep, that's exactly. That was one of the big ones.
Yeah, maybe you can walk us through some of that.
Yeah. So I mean, again, today the news was ridiculous. There's so much news that came out, but there was, and that article, by the way, was picked up by 5 publications.
Yeah.
And I guess BitRiver is the miner, and 10 subsidiaries were actually added to OFAC's list in connection with their ties to the Russian economy. So U.S. Treasury decided to come down on them.
And unpack OFAC, because that's a really important organization, and I know that acronym means something, and it's really important. And why? Who is OFAC, and what role do they play?
Yeah, it's the Office of Foreign Asset Control. So they handle the U.S. sanction list. And so from what I understand, I really don't know a lot about OFAC, but I know that they're one of the regulatory agencies that are definitely looking at foreign money, foreign assets, things of that nature.
All right. Excellent. The other thing that
there's basically a list of certain countries that, as an institution, you're not supposed to interact with, and they're on the OFAC list, for example. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, to me, this is just silliness. Those miners can go get a wallet, and they're not on that list.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
I think this is what's happening with all the governments, though, and they're trying to get their arms around this asset, and it's just hard. Why? Because it's really decentralized, it's censorship resistant, and they know it. And so the best they can do is try to keep chasing this around the world. And unfortunately, you just can't. Like Joel just said, you can move Bitcoin all over the place. They can't come to everybody's house and shut down everybody's wallet.
Yeah. Are you going to shut down everyone's computer? Are you going to shut down the internet? You're going to shut down
that's why you see the move, though. You see the move, even there in the EU, to make private wallets, private custodial wallets, like all of us have, we should have, illegal. And that's really the issue we need to take to the
and the nonsense with accredited investing here, right? Yeah. Like this is all just to slow down the growth of the space. And to me, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, like what Matt was just talking about the in Europe, but then also we saw that firsthand in Canada. A little bit of old news now, but like what was that, like 2 months ago, where their equivalent of the financial institution basically said like, hey, like you can't have this, and we're gonna close it. Who was that exchange that basically said like, yeah, we can't do that because we don't have the have it by design.
that was the best reply.
Even if we could, we wouldn't.
Yeah, that was the best.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Who was that?
Oh,
I'm gonna look him up. I'll look him up.
Nunchuck.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
But yeah, again, the government is just being silly with all of these regulations that just are, again, hurting citizens of their countries, right? Like, this is why I've been stating emerging market countries are going to benefit. We are going to see El Salvador become a G20 country. I've stand by this prediction from a year ago. In the next 5 or 10 years, you will see El Salvador become a G20 country. He's cracking down super hard on the crime right now because everyone's out and about. So the criminals have been out and about again. So he's like, oh, you guys think you can just roam all around the country now? He's like, no, I got money now. I can hire more police. I built a veterinary hospital, right? Yeah, So he's doing stuff, and you can spin it how you want. Some people would say authoritarian. Some people will say conservative. I'll say he's getting stuff done, right? And,
because when you look at it, what he's doing, right, and then granted, at Bitcoin 2022, they made an announcement about the other place, which they came back and recanted, and they said they're not going to make it legal tender. But we all know that eventually these smaller nations will begin to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. And then when that ball starts to really roll, I think you're going to see this go, you'll see one of the major players do the same thing. They'll almost have to. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
And I think the thing, that people have to remember too is a lot of trading is done in US dollars, right? And so the reason why a lot of that has to do with oil, like Matt, you were talking about this with me a few weeks ago with like Saudi Arabian oil and so forth, right? And so, the second that, that currency is not as stable or is not as trusted, you have to think about like, what currency is used as the medium of exchange in those instances. So I think it's really interesting how that will continue to evolve. And so when people I think where people kind of get confused is that they think about Bitcoin as legal tender I go to the grocery store and I buy things in Bitcoin. Like that is very interesting. Don't get me wrong. And I see that world, and, you can make the argument, like, why would you spend your Bitcoin? Because it's, it's technically going to cost more in the long run and so forth. But then also when you talk about just like international trade, like that's where it's like, okay, wait a second, like, do I want to have international trade, for example, in Bitcoin or with, US dollars? And I don't know where that is, at this immediate time, but I can imagine that's how some of these smaller nations, are frankly just starting to think.
Something
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say on the Bitcoin thing, something that I was trying to go through the other day and just experiencing this. And I was talking to my mortgage broker, obviously, rates and HELOCs, and we're trying to, figure that, we've got equity. How can we put that equity to work? And they're just reading today, because I was talking to her about Bitcoin, and she's like, yeah, well, you can't really use your Bitcoin unless you wanted to liquidate it and sell it. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening. And now I'm reading on Market Watch that buying a house with Bitcoin, there's a new startup called Mcneil offering 30-year mortgages backed by Bitcoin. It's made of $5 million to $10 million in loans. Mcneil. Yep. Yeah.
Have you read my hat?
Oh, yeah.
Coin Homes.
Coin Homes.
Coin Homes.
Yeah, the Oracle does it again.
Coin Homes. I gotta find it so I can get a mortgage and use my crypto as collateral. And they'll
you don't even have to give it to them. You just show them your keys. You show them a snapshot that you own it. That's it. And they will get you the mortgage. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, not only that, we've got Figure that's also doing this. We've got another company called Helio Lending. That's a very interesting one, because from what I understand, what they do is they take your digital assets, they hold them, your Bitcoin, and then they do a call put strategy with them. They're making tons of cash. You're making no payments on it. And after a certain period of time, they give you back your assets and you got your house. It's a crazy strategy.
I love that even better.
But
there's also Propy, right? Like Propy, they're doing the NFT. Buy the NFT, you get the property. It's like, so again, all these no coiner morons. Yeah, you're going to be poor, people. Like this is this is not me being rude. This is me being real, right? I tell people I worked in techno customer service for many years. Okay, I just stopped working for one of the biggest mobile cellular phone companies in the country. And I've got asked this on many times. How do I turn on my phone? How do I turn off my phone? How do I compose a text? How do I paste? How do I attach a picture to my text? How do I attach a picture to an email? I am not kidding. And obviously my customer base was an older customer base. And that company will remain nameless, but you can figure it out. The point being is that there's a big cross-section of America that fears technology, and you should not. This is the technology that's going to save us, right? Like I've been saying for a couple of weeks now. This is help us, Obi-Wan. You're our only hope. Thank you, Satoshi, right? Like Satoshi Nakamoto is Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you haven't figured that out, I'm sorry. I can't help you. Right.
And Matty, check this out. I went to CoinHome's website. So CoinHome, this is very interesting. 3.5% rate, 5% closing, 0 down payment, 30-year loan. This is crazy.
What?
Yes, that's
Going home.
insane.
Yeah, these guys are cool. I met them in Vegas. They probably
Really?
love me right now. I get
I
paid
know
no
they
money
do.
by them. I got the free hat. That's about it. But they're about the corn, and this is the decade of commodities. I don't know how many times I have to scream from the mountaintop that I've been saying this since 2018. The crypto couple made a video about it today, right? You see that video; it's hilarious. But I'll say this today again. I said this earlier today. Bitcoin hasn't had its Hulk moment like nickel or corn or lumber or maple syrup. Yeah, maple syrup pumped too. If you didn't follow the commodities markets. But it hasn't had its Hulk-like moment where it's about to come out and smash. And when it does, you better be ready because, again, it's being suppressed right now. When the hash rate is close to 250 exahashes a second and the price is barely moving off 40K, yeah, there's definitely people with big short positions against Bitcoin because they want to keep it in a range. And it's been trading in this sideways chop for a long time. And when it breaks out, trust me, you'll notice.
It's going to break. This is a really cool website. I thank you for the tip on this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. There's an article today. Actually, there's a few articles talking about mining, but one is talking about the Bitcoin hash rate plateaus after slow and steady climb. That was from Bitconnect. And then there was another one that was talking about how Bitcoin mining profitability could point to capitulation still ahead, which I found interesting. And then the last one was about Bitcoin mining rigs in a downward spiral. The price of them, I guess, is dropping. So that's very interesting as well.
Any indication as to why the prices were dropping?
Let me dig in here and check it out real quick. The metric is measured. It says the metric is a measure of mining power for a rig. The value of the hash rate tells us how many hashes the machine can perform on the network. The cost of the mining rig is measured in terms of the price per terahash per second. The below chart shows how the price has changed over the past year. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they're giving a reason as to why.
Because I would think still in the quote unquote supply chain issues that we have and the chip shortage, et cetera, is that still?
Nope. They said it's going down because of the low profitability of miners at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't see that.
I would think that why this is occurring is because all of the Chinese, miners have left. The majority of them moved to the United States and North America, and who's buying right now? Those are the biggest buyers, China and the US. And guess what? Now that's one big market, and that market's flooded. And that's the problem is if you have too many miners, actual ASICs in obviously a sea of energy. And again, when we're hitting we're going to hit new all-time high hash rates. And at some point, like I said, Bitcoin you can only push it around so much. That's the one thing I've noticed studying Bitcoin for like 4 or 5 years is, I have seen, whales in earlier years just dump on it and watch it go pew and then buy it back up and pew. And now it's very hard to do that.
And what's funny though,
very hard to do that.
One of the things I always love to talk about when this kind of subject comes up is that, it's like really like, what's your time preference at the end of the day, right? So if you are, so for me, I'm the worst trader. Never take trading advice from me. And so I just hold it. Like, that's all I do. The only time I've ever sold Bitcoin is because I actually had to, because I'm a startup founder, and every once in a while I've just needed to operate my business, and it's killed me every single time. But at the same time, right, like what I always say is like, I don't really care right now personally if Bitcoin goes down to 35 or it goes up to 45. I don't care, because I see Bitcoin at $1 million. You know what I mean? So like whether it's at 35 or 45, oh well. Like, that doesn't totally now. If I traded, I probably would care about that more. But like I said, I'd probably buy and sell like at the wrong time. So that's why I don't do that. But go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so let me ask you guys this question, because this is something that's been out there reverberating. I've actually written an article on it probably a couple of years ago. This whole concept of supply shock. What did you guys' take on this? Because we keep talking about the supply shock. We keep talking about Bitcoins leaving exchanges, but yet the price is still where it is. Why do you guys think that's the case?
Futures. ETF, futures ETF?
I think it's definitely the futures. It's a futures ETF. And then obviously, if you're not aware, the CME has introduced micro Bitcoin futures now, which I'm like,
I didn't know
really?
that.
Yeah, I was like, why do we need that? Oh, and micro ETH futures is like, really? And they say they're trying to protect us, really? Like those products don't need to be on the market, Gary. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so
There's
let's break
plenty
that
of
down.
places.
Break that down even more, right? So, like when you say futures, like for those of us that don't know what you're talking about, why is that causing the price to call it maintain or hover?
Gerald Vata, take it.
Yeah, so somebody can, take a short position out, and like let's say they're doing these micro futures when you only have to have like I think it's like 3 Bitcoin to put a position up, and yeah, again that's probably why they're doing it because you can have obviously small collateral, but you put up a short position of like one of these micro or mini futures, and then you go just buy a big position in a spot position of Bitcoin and just sit and see what happens. I mean, I just got told by a trader, he's got 2 phones and he puts a long position on one and he puts a 20K long position on one phone and he puts a 20K position short position on a different phone, and that's how he plays the markets. So I know that people do this, right?
That's our guy,
I've been
man.
told
That's crazy Mike right there. Yeah,
that's crazy Mike. And I know,
but he ain't crazy,
if you know
though,
that Martini guy, he's not crazy. I mean, it's smart because when it went down, guess what? Mike made a lot of money.
Okay, hold on. That Martini guy, is he legit? Because he's going to end up paying somebody like $2,500.
No, he is going to give.
Is he
going
to
give $2,500?
Okay.
That's nothing to him, dude. He's a multi-millionaire now.
Wow.
He has he has 2 Lambos now, I think, bro. Yeah, I saw him
But
buy his first Lambo, and I congratulated him because he worked. Yeah, there's yours. I congratulate him because I was like, I watched him work so many years. I mean, he's one of the best, like shorter, longer traders I've seen in the biz. And he's lost a lot of money doing it, but I've seen him make a lot of money doing it. Where he started with just a teeny bit, and now he's does like a $1 million positions in Bitcoin, long positions, short positions. And again, people play these games, and now you have to realize that there's bigger institutional players that know about these games, and now they play these games, and they're not just playing with like 10 Bitcoin; they're playing with like 1,000 Bitcoin. Right?
So on this subject, right? So so remember, what was it, March 12th of 2020, when like stock market just
everything
dumped all of a sudden, right? And so Bitcoin did too.
It's literally my birthday. Thanks for reminding me.
I'm March 14th.
March 13th is my birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Belated.
Nice. So that happened, it was clearly correlated to the broader economic market, but that was also like a swan type of event, right? What do you guys think about Bitcoin where it stands today? Would we see, let's say a similar situation happens, are we going to see a correlation, or does Bitcoin like depeg, I guess, in like the next, because there, I don't know, call me like a pessimist, but I feel like there has to be some market downturn that's coming here shortly from, broader economic signals. And so what do you all think about what will happen to Bitcoin if that was to take place? Say we have a 2008 recession type of situation.
It's tricky because that's one of the things that everyone, again, is waiting for. We're waiting for this decoupling to happen. And again, I mean, we might be on the cusp of that happening right now. I think the Fed and the tricks that they're trying to play, actually, it's not even tricks. They paint themselves in the corner and they can't get out of it safely. Something bad is gonna happen. I don't think they can control it. So I think that for me, I think what happens is once the word does get out, and I think it's going to be regulatory, when it gets clear to these large institutions that they can move into Bitcoin safely and within regulation, then the wall is going to come. As Kevin O'Leary said, wall of money. Mark Yusko's been saying it. All of that's going to, and that's when I think the decoupling will happen. But the decoupling can't happen, in my view, until regulation is in place, because the retail can't decouple.
Real quick, sorry, on what I love about Mr. Wonderful is how he was so anti for so long, right? And remember like the conversations between Pomp and him and so forth, and like now he's like one of
well,
us,
I would submit this to you, friends, though. If you go back and do even more research prior to him, I think it was like 2013. There's footage of him in Canada. He was pro Bitcoin then, and then he kind of did this shift. And I think, just is my own opinion, I think it was more of a shtick, more of a gimmicky role that he was playing to be the adversarial bad guy of Bitcoin. But he knows all along the value prop of it. Now you see. So I think he was just kind of playing.
He's the smart version of Peter Schiff, right? Like he actually was like fudding to buy more Bitcoin, and then was like, "I love it!" Like Peter Schiff's like, no, he just hates the
bags.
Yeah, well, they just bought the second. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna say, I always say that Mr. Wonderful is my favorite shark because he's like non-emotional, meaning like if he invests in you, it's because he thinks he's gonna make money. Or, you know, he sees the value. It's not like, oh, like, I think you're a cool person. No. Yeah. He's like just super
They just bought the second exchange in Canada, Coinberry. His firm out of Vancouver. They bought that.
Yep.
And then the quote that he had in Miami, Paul, I'm sure I know you were there, so you probably saw it. But he clearly from the main stage at the keynote goes, Bitcoin will be the world reserve currency. Flat out.
Oh, thank you for segueing me right into that. It already is the world reserve currency, right? I did my newest Bitcoin economic theory. If you understand physics, large capital G is the symbol for the gravitational constant of the universe, and Bitcoin is equal to G, where Bitcoin is G. Yeah, BTC equals G. It is the financial constant of, our financial universe, or I guess I should say the gravitational constant of our financial universe. And that's why, if we go back to your point, it's kind of tricky to hard to say if, the U.S. economy does take a hit, which I think it is going to do. Is Bitcoin and other, crypto markets going to suffer? I say yes, but you have to realize at the same time, Bitcoin itself is so decentralized that in emerging markets where their paper money is already being hammered, they are relying on it already, right? So once it does decouple, it's going to be very noticeable. We started to kind of see it. There's a little bit of evidence against the S&P 500, against the NASDAQ, I think it was about 6 weeks ago, but they are loosely correlated. So I think we would see a dip, but then it would just be boom out of nowhere.
Yeah, to that point, I think it's really interesting, right? So let's just go with the narrative that everything comes down together. Okay, so if everything's down together, where do you want to place for the up? What do you think will go up in to your point, Gerald? It sounds like, okay, if we all think it all comes down together, so be it. But on the way up, I think, Bitcoin is probably going to find its way a little bit quicker than the rest.
I would agree with that.
Most certainly.
Yeah. If you guys did not watch the Ray Dalio's video that he pushed out today about the principles for
that what you just shared there?
The one I just shared. I'm telling you.
There's literally commercials for it everywhere.
Yeah, I've listened to it a couple times, but he tells you what's happening right now. We are going through one of these changing world
mega
orders.
cycles. It's a mega
cycle. Bitcoin is probably going, like Gerald said, it's going to be the reserve asset and currency in this changing world order, and everything else pegs to it.
Exactly. Well, there was a quote from someone at Wells Fargo that said something on the lines of 12 years is not a fad, right? So it's you can't deny this anymore. Real quick, so we've been at this for about 40 or 30 minutes or so. If you're in the audience and you're listening in, we definitely want to invite you to ask questions. Even you can come on stage too. So just feel free to write your question in the comments or raise your hand, and we'll let you come up and you can chat with us or say what you think on that. But that's totally fine to do. And then one quick question I had for you is, what do you all think about the article about Bitcoiners being psychopaths?
Such a
guilty
joke, man.
I will say I am guilty. I resemble that. Funny. I resemble
psychopaths were sadists.
Oh man. Again, I mean, look, are there people in Bitcoin or in anything go a little extreme or a little hard. Like, I mean, like, probably, yes, there are. We know there are. We know who those people are. But like, you know, it's funny. My point of view is that, like, regardless of if you agree or disagree with those people, you know, every movement kind of needs those people anyway, right? Like, you need those people. And then you also need the rational people that kind of, like, you know, level it off for everybody. But, you know, I don't know about psychopaths, but built different, definitely.
Again, if you've never watched, you know, Wall Street, they're the real psychopaths, right? Like, go watch, you know, Greed is good. Yeah, okay, and you know, and go watch Mr.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street himself do mad amounts of cocaine, and yeah, who's the psychopaths?
Okay,
They are.
I actually,
someone
someone put on Twitter one time, they're like, you don't like what's the Wolf of Wall Street?
Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, they're like, you don't like Jordan Belfort, you like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, exactly. This is 100% accurate. I always tell people, can I get this out here? Because anytime his name comes up, I have to just say he's the biggest idiot on the planet. Okay, he's literally like 100,000% the biggest moron ever in the universe. His father has connections to the SEC. They're literally going to get him off with a slap on the wrist, and he spits in their face.
Wow.
Are you stupid? Oh, yeah. And the other reason is he's smuggling money out of the country by duct taping like $40,000 to somebody. Like, are you a moron, bro? Like,
you saw the news,
go hang
right?
out with some like gangsters or some shit. Like,
he was charging,
gosh.
what is it, $40,000 for a crypto course at his place down in Florida for a weekend. The guy who was anti-crypto, who said it was a scam, who was anti-Bitcoin not more than just a couple years ago, now has the audacity.
$40K.
Yeah, 40K for a weekend with this
and
guy.
who is on that WEF board that you were pointing out? It was like Tom Brady, Clinton, like all these people. They're crypto experts. I'm like, what? These people can barely like stand up to take a pee. I'm not kidding. And you're like, and
Tony Blair was on it. That's who it was. Tony Blair, Tom Brady,
Tony Blair.
Bill Clinton.
That wasn't an over exaggeration, my statement.
Yeah, Tony Blair was. Yeah, he's World Economic Forum.
Yeah, these people know jack squat about like cryptocurrencies technically or even code wise. Couldn't even move some Bitcoin from point A to point B. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Don't trust the celebrities, right? I've been saying this for months. The list came out again. Oh, look at all these influencers. Yeah, surprise. Yep.
Yeah, you saw that list too, right? Of how much people getting paid on the tweets.
That's crazy.
I found it hilarious that Lindsay Lohan got paid the most, right? She's like 25K. At least she's not stupid. She's like, you're gonna pay me? I'm like, pay me, right? All these other people are like 1,000, 300. She's like 25K just to say
you guys follow Zuby on the crypto Twitter? I mean,
he said, I will unfollow him. As soon as I see him again, I will unfollow him because I already unfollowed several people on that list.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, then somebody else on the crypto Twitter, ICO offender Yellow. You all know Yellow, right? Boy, he came out with a roasting video today. I saw just before we started this.
Someone put that list in the chat because I'm curious about that.
Bob Sendera's got a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Bob wants to know, he's totally new to crypto. Tell me, what practical use does Bitcoin have? I can't see using it paying for goods, services when its price movement is so volatile. Thanks in advance. Love, hugs and kisses, Bob. Well, I made up the last part. He did. I'm sure Bob meant that. That's what he meant.
Right.
Yeah. Again, I always tell people, unless you're buying a Ferrari, you shouldn't really worry about buying something in Bitcoin, right? Like if you're buying a candy bar, it's 55 cents. Oh, now it's 59 cents. Oh my gosh.
That's why the Lightning Network, Strike, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can use Strike. I always tell people, look, if you don't like volatility, you buy your Satoshis on Strike. They lock it in against, it used to be against USDT, now it's against actual dollars. And that just means it won't fluctuate. So you buy $100 worth of Satoshi today, goes down to 37,000 tomorrow, it's still $100.
Right. See, what Bob should understand is this, Bob, is that there's two aspects to Bitcoin that people don't really talk about a lot. One is Bitcoin, the protocol. The other is Bitcoin, the asset. The protocol is powerful. This is what layer 2 technology is doing. And you're using the Bitcoin's payments network to move money. So when you need to send money, which you probably don't, from here to El Salvador, you can send 100% of it across the Bitcoin payment network, and that person's going to receive that money within seconds. This is the power of the protocol. Now, the asset, you turn to Mark Yusko. He has a great podcast out there. You can search it, The Best Savings Technology on the Planet. Where else can you put your money? And if you look at the time frame, as sort of Jonathan talked about before, your time preference, for the past 13 years, it went from $0 to $47,000. Listen, that's a great use case for me. I'll take it any day, right?
So I love the Curator, man.
Practical use.
Yeah, and the dollar, if you look at a dollar's purchasing power chart, it's done the exact opposite, right? It's gone like down 90-some%. And more speculation is done on the dollar. If you're watching Bitcoin 2020, I know a couple of you are probably there. You heard who was it from Mr. Lee saying, he wants more speculation on Bitcoin because it's around 35 and he thinks it could be closer to 50 and the dollar's around 98. Right? So if you want to know where the speculation is, y'all, it's like I've always said, the dollar. You know where all the crime is? The dollar. You know where all the fraud is? The dollar. Should I continue?
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's not Bitcoin.
Well, you can't trace dollars. You could technically trace Bitcoin if you needed to, right?
And that's where it's all going.
Exactly.
And that's why the feds love Bitcoin, because even though they can't technically track you, they can follow the money very easily. And if you've seen any movie where they bring in the forensic accountants, right? What's the first thing they start doing? Following the money. And again, that's why all of these new, FINRA, FBI, NSA, the CIA, they love Bitcoin. Don't tell me they don't. They can see where all this money is. And I've been warning about the Russian hackers. How long? You remember that Spaces when I said that? Everyone literally went silent. Everyone thought I was crazy. Now what? I was 100% correct. These guys are stealing tons of our money, and it must stop. The FBI and the CIS put out a memo today of all the things I've been saying you should be doing. Right? Turn on your 2FA, have a complex password, etc., etc., etc. So please and thank you. Use these new technologies. You know why these technologies are important? Because the Web 2.0 is a big effing sieve of information and money, worse than the Web 3.0 any day. Bitcoin is almost literally is bulletproof. And then obviously there's others out there. We're not going to discuss them today, but Bitcoin is literally, I tell people, it's been tested during a pandemic and has multiple satellites that orbit the Earth, where if you have a satellite phone and know how to do it, you could do transactions anywhere, right? There's literally people that know how to do transactions with CB radios, right? Yeah, so if it came down to brass tacks and the last thing we could do is get a ham radio going or two, we can still do transactions with Bitcoin, right?
There's another question here that
it can't be said with any other money.
Is it possible to implement flash loan concept in the Bitcoin network? A flash loan concept. I think I know, but I'm not quite sure what you're going with on that. But yeah, that's the question. There you go. I had to look at that close. Am I reading that right? Yeah.
I'll point to my head again. Remember, they will get you a mortgage, and they just got to show them that you have the corn. That's it. They get you the mortgage for your house. And they said they would never even kick you out. They don't even care if Bitcoin's going up or down or anything. As long as you're making the payments, everything's good.
Yeah, there were actually two articles, one from BN Crypto, the other was from CoinDesk, where they were talking about what is a flash loan. I said the flash loan or flash lending was introduced by the Marble protocol in 2019 on the Ethereum blockchain. The innovation was described as a smart bank that allows users to take out zero-risk loans through a smart contract. Marble created flash lending to combat the two risks taken by traditional lenders.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there have been people gaming flash loans, and that can become problematic. But there is,
that sounds kind of sketchy.
I mean, the guy bought a whole bunch of NFTs a few weeks back doing something like this. Made a lot of money. He's kind of actually ingenious, but he's not doing like shady stuff. Like that was just like he found an opportunity and he took advantage of the opportunity in front of him. There's obviously crypto is crazy, right? So I always tell people it's super duper crazy.
Aave has something on it too. Aave says flash loans allow you to borrow any available amount of assets without putting up any collateral, as long as the liquidity is returned to the protocol within one block transaction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've not played with any of that, so no thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like, how do you pay that back in one block?
In one block transaction, man. I got it for one, baby.
It's like you're like, that's robo flipping something.
Yeah, you gotta call it quick.
That's why, again, I tried bot trading, and again, I know some programming, and I'm a hodler. It's just a lot easier. I find something I like, I get a big bag of it, I sit on it, and if it does become useful, I probably don't spend it as much. If it's not useful, bye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw it was an article came out, I think it was earlier in the week or late last week, that was saying Germany is becoming the place that's the most friendly. Well, look at Commercial Bank now. They're coming out and they're doing custody for digital assets because the demand is so high. And I think we're going to keep seeing that with these banks starting to custody. And before you know it, it's in your app. And yeah, it's getting really interesting with Bitcoin and where things are going.
I would just be careful, like check who's doing their custody for them. You know,
exactly.
If it's BitGo, okay, maybe you're cool. If it's like, you know, hello, my name is Vitalik. Yes, Vitalik's cousin, Vitalik too. Yeah, maybe not.
Let me see who they're Coinbase. No, that's I don't know. I wonder if they say who is actually custodying for them.
The big news that nobody's talking about is Coinbase's like underground news, right? Like not that their NFT things opening up. Nope. The email that came out last week that nobody's talking about, right?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
they had this email come out saying they're going to basically take over your non-custodial Coinbase wallet. Guess what? They're like, oh, we're taking over that wallet too. Because I guess they'll literally, this is how they'll spin it. Because we're opening up our NFT space, right? We want to have control over the keys to that wallet. That's what they'll say, something like that. But yeah, they're taking over both of those wallets now. So if you have a Coinbase, your own private Coinbase wallet, well, it's not going to be yours anymore after tomorrow. Oh, yesterday. Sorry.
Wow.
So wait. I warned people.
So wait, on the NFT, so the non-custodial wallet will not be non-custodial anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. All of the assets in the non-custodial wallet will become under Coinbase's purview.
Gotcha.
100%. Interesting. Now, again, out of all the exchanges I've used, I've probably, even though they've gone down many times on me, they've never said, no, you can't do this. But I always tell people, the first time somebody tells you no, trust me, we won't let it happen again. And I've had it happen to me. So I hate ghost bags, right? I always tell people I hate ghost bags, and I have multiple of them right now, right? I still have like a $342 million ghost bag, and that one annoys the crap out of me every time I look at that wallet.
Crazy.
Well,
yeah, like, do you know how bad it feels to be like, I'm almost a billionaire, but I can't touch that money because it's not real. Because somebody just missed a comma on a contract. Like literally, that's all it is. Like somebody missed a comma on this BSC smart contract, and it looks like I have $350 million, but I don't.
Well, what's good is in 50 years when quantum computing, accelerates massively, maybe you can unlock it.
Oh no, it's not that it's locked up. It's just somebody made a boo-boo in the contract, and it makes the price of the coin on the contract be much more than it's actually worth. If you look on CoinGecko or look on Masari, it's like not that much. But on the contract, anytime you look at the BSC contract, it always comes up this high price, and I'm like, $342 million. No, it's not there. It's not there. It's fake.
That's funny.
OPCTV. CTV. We're Googling that one. Let's take
what do you think about that?
Because I have no idea what that is.
No clue.
Something about lightning channels.
Bitcoin for everyone. Protect your stacks, smart custody solutions, automatic wallet, vaults protect your hard-earned coin from would-be hackers. A BIP.
Is it a cloud-based like wallet?
Multi-sig. No, it's not multi-sig.
deploy. Supercharged lightning channels. Routing is HLDS.
Yeah, see, a lot of these things like this, it gets very, very interesting. I mean, these are what I tell people. Stuff like this is ultimately going to be for the true tech nerds that are.
This
really
is Gerald Vata. This is Gerald Vata's love language here.
That's right.
That's why, yeah, we got him on the squad. He'll go through this and he'll give you a thorough breakdown within 48 hours. Or I'm not saying he would, but he could probably less than that. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just read that, and here's where the problems are, and this sucks, and you shouldn't use it." He'll do that. I mean, exactly. Gerald's that damn good.
I'm already saying not using. No offense.
Okay, well there you go.
I've already got a feeling like right out the gate, like nope, don't touch it. Yeah, I always tell people, look, there's a handful of centralized custody services I trust. Obviously, I like Celsius, but now they've, they're putting up their walled garden, oh, you have to be a accredited investor. Don't like that, but they're obviously following the government's, lead on that. That's the government being douches. And I understand that, but if you're going to do that, that's fine. But I always tell people, please, the first rule of Bitcoin in my book, don't keep all your Bitcoin in one place, right? Mm-hmm. Have multiple Bitcoin wallets and have a whole bunch of it under your control and have the keys, because you don't want to ever have a ghost bag. Again, you've heard that was one ghost bag. I had one where it was $100,000 too, right? Ghost bags stink. You want to own the asset and have it in your own private wallet, and you have full control, because like stuff happens. I always tell people, if you have all your Bitcoin, like Jonathan was saying, he does startups, and let's say he, God forbid, I know he would never do this, but let's say he had like all his Bitcoin on Coinbase, and he's like, oh, I got to pay these bills because I'm doing my startup. Oh, Coinbase is down. Yeah, that's your first lesson right there. That's happened to millions of people last year. Or the Robinhood one, right? Oh, that's my new favorite one. How long have I been saying that they're pulling some kind of shell game, and they're like, oh, we just bought a wallet company. Wait, what? Mm-hmm. Beep, beep, beep. Pump the brakes, back it up. I thought you guys already are building wallets. Right? What's going on here? What's going on? You just bought a wallet company. Why are you all of a sudden like, I'm totally confused here. You're building wallets, but you bought a wallet company. I'm lost. And then I told people in my private Telegram group, they were looking for engineers, right? For wallets. And they buy that wallet company. I'm like, yo, dude, this is a primrose path of stinky, funky, nasty cheese, and I'm telling you that something is not right in the state of Denmark. I don't have any physical evidence besides some shady things they did with my options contract, which I have no proof because there's nothing on the blockchain, right? But yeah, I had a bad experience with an options call, put options I had with them that should have paid me like $10K, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not how our options work." And I was like, "No, that's how options work. The price of the asset, the price of the asset went down $2. Why is my option not in the money?" And they're like, well, that's not how it works. Like, dude, I studied options for like a full year before I bought my first option. I was like, I know how they work now. I was like, nice try. But yeah, something's up with Robinhood, because like I said, you send me the email. Ooh, be a beta tester for our crypto wallets. Oh, we just need all of this info again. Roadblock.
Yeah, red not flag, good.
Red flag. Red flag, red flag. This is like the sixth one I've seen. They don't have their Dogecoin, right? They don't have as much Dogecoin as they're saying. They don't have the coin, and that's why they're scrambling for wallets, because they're hoping to have some money in them. We'll see. We shall see. That's my own speculation, by the way. But you heard the data points.
I feel like we could talk about this all night. We definitely got.
I didn't even, dude. I haven't even dug into them, and I'm like coffee. Right. I'm like that dude, CoffeeZilla. If I start digging in, I'll find shit, and I find shit quick. I found shit about SafeMoon in 5 minutes. I busted out my calculator. I was like, "This is why I love blockchain technology." I pull up my calculator. I'm like, wait a second, your number doesn't match this number. And then I'm like, oh, oh, maybe I messed up, Jerry. I can mess up math. I'm a human being. Let me do it again. Nope. There's like 300. I don't know. I think it came up 300 billion tokens discrepancy. I was like,
Wow.
red flag, red flag, red flag. And then I went back a couple weeks later and did it again. Got the same thing, red flag. I was like, this is bullshit.
This is why people should focus on just SATS. Listen, not speaking like a Bitcoin maximalist, but this is why, especially if you're not technical and you don't understand stuff, stay away from these projects. I know everything sounds great and cool, but at the end of the day, how hard is it just to stack SATs? That's it.
Yep, exactly.
That's you're going to be fine.
Dude, and again, all of those stories about people becoming crypto, millionaires or billionaires are anecdotal at best, right? And the majority of the people did become billionaires because they had big positions in Bitcoin, right? Let's be clear. Or, obviously top 10 cryptos, not these rare altcoins that are flashes in the pan. Now they're on the SafeMoon version 2 contract. Okay, well, let's get to version 4 and version 6 contract. Yeah, whatever. You're wasting your money, right?
Yeah,
just just get Cash App, right? Get Cash App. Cash App has it so easy now. You just take that little slider bar, slide it below, slide it right to the
buy
dips.
Orders whenever you want.
Exactly. And boom, it auto buys for you.
Yeah, if you're not DCAing and just using Cash App on an automatic, instead of just putting money into your 401k, you should, do that if you want. But you should you're putting money away automatically. You should just be automatically DCAing, setting that on Cash App or whatever. I would encourage.
I wish I had that in 2018. I wish I had that.
Well, we didn't
have it. Really did.
Yeah. Not only that, there's so many other ways that people can get SATs. Because again, we're talking SATs here. Listen, there's the Lollies of the world. There's the Rally X's of the world. There's the Gemini cards. There's the Coinbase card. There's so many ways for people to get SATs. If you're not stacking some kind of SAT somewhere, you're doing it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, Lolly, I always tell people that's like grandma proof, right? Everyone now shops online, right? You get your grandma a Lolly account. You say, grandma, buy stuff, you buy it through here, they give you free Bitcoin and they put it right here in this part of your screen. Boom. Done. It's a no-brainer. And they give you, and even if you don't like shopping online, they give you free SATs. They only give you like 40 a day now, but they used to give you like hundreds and thousands. But they still give you free Satoshis every day. You just click the little box. Here's your free Satoshis. Here's 50 SATs. And guess what? The Satoshi will have parity with the dollar in the future. Trust me. It might take 10 or 15 years, but it'll happen. I always tell people, keep those
for that to happen,
wallets,
that would put Bitcoin at $1 million. And that goes back to Kathy Wood from ARK Investment. Do you think way more than $1 million for a SAT to be $1?
Well, if a SAT's $1, well, that would be 100 million.
Yeah, that'd be 100 million. Yeah,
$100 million.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I think the low end of Bitcoin will be in the next 10 years, 100 million to like 500 million.
Wow. You heard it here first.
Bullish.
Yes, bullish.
Oh, dude, I'm mega bullish on Bitcoin.
I like that.
I've ran the new numbers, right? I told people multiple times, I've like crunched the numbers with $2 quadrillion, but if the M1 and M2 supply grows, which it will grow, like, let's be clear, they love to print that money. We will see, again, a much higher valuation on Bitcoin because, like I said, Bitcoin is the gravitational force of the financial universe. BTC equals G, and everything will become paired to Bitcoin. It's already happening. I always tell people, you see me wearing the Bitcoin, Pac-Man shirt. That's not a joke. It's the only asset in the world, right? It can eat dollars. It can eat pounds. It can eat gold. It can eat real estate. It can eat oil. It can eat every effing asset in the world. And guess what? It's the only one that can do that.
Yep. It's true.
And all those other ones can be tied to it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
1,000%.
Yeah.
And tokenize on it. And that's what, Jack's thinking about doing. And that, would make, obviously putting Tether on the Lightning Network would, give a lot more liquidity to the Bitcoin, layer 2 network, which would be huge. And, obviously that's big, but, things have to be developed.
Do you obviously, I think I know the answer. I think, Paul, you kind of touched on this earlier, though, but once we do see a spot ETF approval here in the U.S., that we will be seeing, 100K, and we're off at least past that band. We're kind of off then at that point.
Yeah, I think so, because I think that's when you're going to start seeing a lot of money coming in. A lot of these RIAs, registered investment advisors, are waiting for the CTF so they can put their clients in. They have a way to actually monetize them putting people into digital assets. And so when that wall happens, we're going to see a lot. And there's ETFs. I mean, there was a lot of ETF news that came out today. There was another one that came out. Where is it? Yeah, Simplify files for Bitcoin ETF mixing treasuries and option strategies. And then Terracrum, I guess is how we pronounce that.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. Now, was that the one that I saw that a couple of, were they the one that it's the futures, but it got approved under the 33 Act versus the 40 Act? Even though it was futures, right? Okay.
Yep,
so there was that one, which really doesn't give. I think one Bloomberg analyst said that this really doesn't give Goldman Gary and the team there at the SEC a leg to stand on anymore for, saying we will not approve a spot under the 33, because you just approved a futures under the 33. And the other futures that came out, the Bitcoin ETF, was one that where all of the they were going to be settled on the Algorand network, which wow, that one kind of like blew me away.
Well, two things. One is I'm excited for the Australian one.
Yes,
I think that's
$1
actually
billion coming in off that is what they say.
I think a ton of money's coming in off that one. I think we're not going to see 40K Bitcoin much longer off that.
Nope.
And the other one was, I'm sorry, what was your last statement there? Because that made me think of it.
The Algorand.
Oh, the Algorand.
Oh yeah, the Algorand. Yeah, I if you've you know me, I'm always like peeking around and testing stuff out. If peeked in Algo,
I know you.
If you've looked in Algo's wallet, they've had stuff like that. I've said that they were going to start, tokenizing assets from, the S&P and et cetera. So seeing a Bitcoin ETF on there doesn't surprise me. I think that the main chains, that we're looking towards are, obviously we're looking to obviously try this in Bitcoin once Taproot is live. But, Algo is one of those chains, I know it came up, because Silvestri, if you don't know who he is, he's done a lot of work for the United States government as one of the lead, head cryptographers of the world, right? Like probably top 10 cryptographers in the whole world.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, and he's a smart guy. Their stuff does work. I've tested it. It's one of the fastest industrial blockchains, and it's a really cool chain. So it's got a public layer, it's got a private layer, blah 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 blah. Sorry, now we're getting off topic. But I think that the Australian ETF is more important than anything else, because it's going to show the U.S. markets that there is a demand, right? There is a huge demand for Bitcoin spot ETF. The other part we never got into is that these futures ETF has been also, kind of pushing Bitcoin down, because the money's going in there. But if the price is stagnant, obviously the actions on the downside, and that's right where it's going to be. But I think this Australian ETF is huge, and that's going to it's going to change everything next week.
Yeah, I don't see how. I mean, even like, let's just say that, like, from Gensler's standpoint, they're like, do they really want that? I mean, yes, people here in the U.S., we've been clamoring for one for how long? I mean, look at all the ones that you've denied. There's a huge pile of bodies under the bus, Gary. You've driven over. So the demand is there. It's just a matter of, do they want to let their banker friends and the guys who are running the futures right now, they're just going to let them milk that? I mean, that's.
I think I even shared a tweet that the NASDAQ wants it, right? The NASDAQ even said today, Gary, we want a spot ETF. Hello. And I was like, Gary, this is the NASDAQ, bro. This isn't like, this isn't some small market player. This is a market maker, bro, asking for this product. So get on it. You're literally... You're harming America by not doing this, right? Like, again, everyone, now all the miners are here, right? Most of the hodlers are here, right? So you not having a spot ETF is not helping Americans. It is hurting Americans.
Right. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of chatter on the crypto Twitter. Obviously, Michael Sonnenschein over there at Grayscale, the head over there, and looking to convert that GBTC. Probably will be the first spot ETF from all indications. But you know, you've seen his comments if you're on the Twitter, basically saying that it's a matter of if, not when. So it seems like the sentiment, there's something cooking in the kitchen. We might be, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something in 90 days. But you know,
well, he said if they
breath.
don't, he said if they don't, they're gonna sue, right? So they're gonna sue the SEC if they don't do it. So something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
Between Bitcoin and the Ripple, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I think the SEC again. The biggest red herring. I don't even know if that's a good analogy. I guess he was the Trojan horse. Gary Gensler is the Trojan horse of crypto. But he really has not been fighting for the crypto space. He's been fighting for the banking space and protecting the banking's assets. That's what he's been doing. He's protecting the Fed, and this is clear as day. And for anyone to deny it is just ridiculous. And it's time to protect the citizens of the United States, which most of the crypto Bitcoin hodlers are, which is us. So let's get let's get a spot ETF like ASAP. And also the Fed needs to start buying some ASICs, and you need to start mining, damn it. Figure it out. Thank you.
All right. This has been a fire conversation tonight. I love this panel, man. This has been good, man. I love chopping it up with y'all. We got the ninjas, the Jedis. Man, this has just been a beautiful conversation tonight. Thank you for hosting this, Jonathan Blanco and TF Labs.
Yeah, thank you all for, you're my co-host, and thank you, Paul and Gerald, for being our guest co-host as well. And this is fun. I think we should definitely do this again.
I'd love to.
Indeed.
I'm in. This is a really good time. I love chopping it up with brilliant minds and sharing education and connecting with folks. So thank you for doing this.
I appreciate all your time, and it's always great to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin economics, because like I stated earlier, this is our last hope, right? Bitcoin is our only hope anymore, and now the government start to see that and just stack some sats. Please.
That's what you get when you go to hope.com, right?
Yeah.
Man,
stack sats.
Paul, Gerald, thanks for joining us. Matt, thanks always for co-hosting with me.
Yep.
For those who are listening, make sure that you're following these amazing minds here. You can follow them on Twitter, and we'll definitely do this again. Maybe we'll do this next month, or maybe we'll do this on Twitter Spaces as well. So keep an eye out, and if you're following TF Labs, you'll see these types of events all the time. So again, everybody, thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a fantastic 420.
All right.
You as well. Take care.